According to the 2018 federal indictment made by U.S. Special Counsel Robert Mueller, the identified Russian nationals were charged with attempts to defraud the United States by impairing, obstructing, and defeating the lawful functions of the government through fraud and deceit for the purpose of interfering with the U.S. political and electoral processes, including the presidential election of 2016. Specifically, the Russian nationals' political interference operations consisted of supporting the presidential campaign of then-candidate Donald J. Trump and disparaging Hillary Clinton. Dubbed the Internet Research Agency, or IRA, the Russian cyber influence group used social media as a cultural weapon to attract Trump supporters through false propaganda and ads against the opponents. The IRA accepted $25 to $50 payments from individuals who wanted to post content on the social media pages they orchestrated. Masquerading as various U.S.-based grassroots organizations, the IRA used the stolen identities of Americans to reach out to political organizations and obtain support and promotion for pro-Trump rally organization in purple states like Florida. Some of the nationals even obtained false government documents to travel to the United States to gain intel, to further their tactics to tamper with the nation's political system. Starting in 2014, the IRA employed hundreds of people within their Russian headquarters, all with the goal to spread distrust toward the candidates and the political system in general. With hundreds of Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram accounts, some with more than 100,000 followers, the IRA promoted Trump, opposed Hillary Clinton, and attempted to dissuade minority groups from voting at all. The situation of the Russian nationals involved in stealing U.S. identities by purchasing them on the dark web is just one example of what can happen when Social Security numbers, or SSNs, are exposed from a data breach, such as Equifax. Besides a data breach, there are other ways your personal information can end up in the wrong hands. Methods of identity theft. There are several techniques bad actors use to get their hands on the sensitive information that makes up your identity. These techniques vary in complexity and scope, but the goal remains the same. Bad actors want your personally identifiable information, or PII, to open bank accounts and credit cards, obtain loans, submit healthcare claims, and even evade the police, which could risk your going to jail for someone else's arrest warrants. Remember, PII includes the information that can be used to identify you. For example, SSNs, driver's license number, billing address, date of birth, and so forth. The following are some common methods fraudsters utilize to steal your identity. Ways identity thieves steal your identity. Data breach. Breaches, such as Equifax in 2017, which exposed more than 140 million SSNs, hundreds of thousands of credit card numbers, and other PII, create a challenge, since an individual's identity is already leaked prior to the company and consumers knowing about it. Equifax's breach cost consumers $1.4 billion, with an average cost of $23 per person, after 20% of Americans placed a security freeze on their credit files. Katie says, "No thank you." One such individual who was affected by the Equifax breach was Katie Van Fleet of Seattle, who started receiving thank you letters for opening credit lines at 15 retail stores, such as Barney's of New York and Home Depot. Katie was perplexed because she never applied for these accounts. With the theft of her identity attributed to the Equifax breach, Van Fleet filed a class action lawsuit based on negligence against the major credit bureau. "I didn't think this would ever happen to me. It's been very frustrating," Van Fleet told her local news. Even though she placed fraud alerts on her credit report, she kept receiving those thank you letters.